Sometimes when your back's against the wall, you need a hill of a plan to make it out alive. Hello and welcome to Game Tales, our weekly feature where we recite the stories of D&D players and the many goings-on in their adventures. Today's story comes from yours truly. It is set in 5th edition's Dungeons & Dragons, and it takes place in the Storm King's Thunder module. Without further ado, I am the Penitent with College of Lore. This is Game Tales. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe as I tell you the tale of Lazarak's New Hill. So this story comes from a campaign that started as Curse of Strahd, and after we decided that we wanted to keep going after the main plot of the game, we found ourselves right in the thick of Storm King's Thunder, transitioning right from one to the other. There were a lot of characters in this campaign, but to spare you the long and short of it, my character, as a player, was Lazarak, who was a Goliath wizard, which was a choice that I made, and a choice that I probably wouldn't make again, but man, it was fantastic for roleplay reasons, and less fantastic for other reasons. He was the runt of his litter, and he very much was not the strongest Goliath in the bunch, which meant his strength score was like a 17. But he was very smart for a Goliath, which made his intelligence like 13 at level 3. So, not the best wizard in the world, but he tried his best. His crowning achievement was counterspelling a power word kill, which I think may be the high point of any wizard that starts with 13 intelligence. But he had managed to survive all the way through Curse of Strahd and about halfway through Storm King's Thunder, when this group, which had ballooned thanks to their tendency to adopt any NPC that didn't want to kill them on sight, there were about 21 characters, all things considered, that were allied and available. The main party had started with 6, and they kept finding people, and people kept not dying. So what happened was, the gang made a group up with a group of adventurers led by Dritz Doerden, the D&D character from many a novel and other outside sources, because violating copyright is okay as long as it's in a home game. You can quote me on that, sure, why not? And as we found ourselves with so many people, we decided it best to split up and branch out, because the DM had decided to add more of a challenge and to expand out from what is written in Storm King's Thunder. There is a conch that is needed to travel to a place very relevant to the plot that isn't super relevant to the story, but the point is that each of the giant clans, that is, clans that aren't storm giants, Hill, Frost, Fire, Stone, and Cloud, all have a magic conch that can travel to the Maelstrom to meet with the Storm Giants. But because we didn't want to make it that easy on ourselves, and the DM didn't want to make it that easy on us, we decided that each of the giant leaders had a fragment of the conch that would have to be brought together all at once for them to travel to the Maelstrom, or we would have to go and grab each of them. So we split into groups of, I want to say about 6 or 7, and we set out to go travel to and either borrow or steal or get into a massive fight this conch to bring them all together and go investigate whatever had happened at the Storm Kingdom, which is the crux of the campaign. So my group, the group that had Lazarak, was set out into the Hill Giant settlement. Hill Giants are known as kind of the lowest on the totem pole while being actual giants. They are largely dumb and brutish and focused on base survival needs rather than big ambitious plays. Very Neanderthal type of beings. So we had settled in and we had figured that we could probably sneak through their tunnels. And we were small enough, even with a Goliath, to not entirely get detected immediately, as long as we could just navigate the tunnel system, not get detected immediately, we could probably sneak into the chamber of their chieftain and either eliminate her with few or no guards in the room, or negotiate, which we weren't hopeful about, or fight our way out if we absolutely needed to. We had enough power between, like, a wizard, a ranger, a fighter, various other classes that we could probably deal with a few giants at once, but not being swarmed by them, which would be the worst possible scenario for us. And it actually worked pretty well so far. We made a bunch of successful stealth checks. Their perception was not very high, so it was very easy to kind of navigate this series of tunnels that the hill giants had set up and work our way all the way from our little entrance where we'd parked our ship hiding not too far away, this airship. And we worked our way all the way to where the hill giant chieftain was sleeping, much to our luck. So she's on her throne, fast asleep, and the rest of us are all just standing in this room. There are no guards, and we aren't sure where the conch is, but as we look around, we see this massive chest in the corner of the room. And our immediate thought is, if anything important is going to be in this room, it's going to be there. So after kind of a cursory glance at the chest, the ranger of the group gets onto Lazarak's shoulders and starts to push open the chest. And the second that chest pushes open, a massive alarm starts to blare out. Just this alarm starts to echo through all of these underground tunnels. And we see the chieftain start to kind of wake herself up. And we figure that we only really have about one action before things really go south and we really are in a desperate situation here. And the DM confirmed as much. So I, in a panic, decided I'm going to cast Leomund's Tiny Hut, which, for those of you that are unaware, it is an 8-hour spell that makes this opaque dome of any color you choose that can fit up to 9 creatures just wherever you're standing. You can come and go as you please. It's this very useful spell, but it's not typically useful to avoid combats because people will know you're there and they will wait. But this time, I put up this dome and I decided I'm going to make it the same color as the dirt of these tunnels. And all of these giants, they storm into the room, they start looking around, they start sniffing the air, they start just stomping random places, hoping things will upend, looking under this buffet table as the chieftain from her throne starts shouting out orders. And then they all kind of look at the same time and turn towards this opaque brown dome. This, what looks like a mound of smooth earth. So they kind of touch it, and it feels weird, but it feels real, because you can only really exit or enter if you're in command of the spell. You can exit from inside the dome, but you can't really enter the dome if you're not allowed in expressly. So while they're inspecting it, I see the DM make a couple of rolls, just makes these insight rolls to see what they make of it. And then I see a couple other rolls that the DM doesn't specify immediately. And then I'm asked to roll a d20 with Lazarak's spell attack modifier onto it. And I roll a 15 plus 8, which is the attack modifier, to get a 23. By this point I had leveled up a decent amount. I forget what level we were exactly at, though. And there's a pause, and the chieftain just kind of sits there for a moment. And she decides that this has to be a sign from the Allfather, the overseer of all giants, that the hill giants are due for a better lot in life in the next ordning, but that they need to obey this sign from the Allfather in order to make it pay off. So they must do as they were instructed by this mysterious dome appearing in the dirt, and they must go and seek out their new hill. And as they do this, these excitable hill giants start chanting, "New hill, new hill, new hill," over and over again. And the party sits there inside this brown dome for a little over an hour, just standing there watching these hill giants prepare themselves for the trek to go seek out their new home. This new religious site for them, even going so far as to help their basically immobile chieftain prepare for this long and tenuous journey to go track down the new hill that they were instructed to get with this sign from their god, essentially. And after about an hour passes, we just stand there in silence, wait about 20 more minutes in game time, and then just quietly the ranger gets back on Lazarak's shoulders, exits the dome, gets into the chest, grabs the conch fragment, and jumps back out, and we walk unperturbed through the tunnels back to our ship. And we take the flight back to Citadel Adbar, which is a dwarven city where we had set up a base of operations at the time. And we were the last ones in. We had we made another stop along the way to negotiate, which we successfully did with the stone giants. So we hadn't gotten to any combat or really had any sort of risk on the way there. But the other parties who had gone to go visit, one of them was taking fire by themselves, and the other sect was taking on ice and cloud, respectively. They had gone through intense negotiations, a very tight battle, very many near-death experiences. Someone nearly lost their mind to a powerful artifact. And there was still this tension of this unspoken about kiss that nearly happened between two of the characters. So this is all happening. There is tension, there is sadness, there is anger in the air, and this group of, let's affectionately call them chuckle fucks, that had just negotiated for one thing in basically one of the easiest trades of all time, and just YOLO'd their way into getting another conch fragment. Just come in like kids off a shuttle from Disneyland, chanting "New hill, new hill, new hill," like the hill giants had before them. And as the rest of the segments of the party looked on in shock, and the session began to wind down, I quietly erased Liamon's tiny hut from my spell list and wrote down Lazarak's New Hill. Thank you for listening to the tale of Lazarak's New Hill. We appreciate you checking out this video and giving it a shot. We appreciate any likes, comments, and subscriptions this video garners you. Do you have any game tales that you think would be worth sharing with the internet? If so, leave them in the comments or send us an email at the link in the description. We will read viewer submissions in the very near future. Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.